Made. Welcome to our show. If this is your first time watching, this is our show called Millionaires Are Made, where we believe that you can be a millionaire in all 6 aspects of health. We do episodes on your physical health, mental health, social health, spiritual health, financial health, and today we're going to focus on your intellectual health. This show's built on the fundamental belief that every person you meet knows something that you don't, and there's something to be learned from everyone. So we brought 3 awesome guests onto the show today to help teach you just a little bit about intellectual health. Our topic is writing an article, how to get published, how to see if you can get published, how to write a book, all sorts of different things. We're super excited to see what tips we got coming. And as always, in the spirit of authenticity and to remove any bias, I do not even know who the guests are until about 15 minutes before the show when we meet backstage to go over. My team finds all the guests and lines them up, so it's going to be completely unbiased and authentic. They're going to be talking about their true experiences, and that's the beauty of our show. Oh, audience, please, we love interacting. We'll have question sessions at the end. Comment, ask questions. We'll ask them live and put our guests on the spot. So feel free to ask anything that you want. Anyone that owns a podcast or has a podcast that needs guests would love to take our guests and let them share their word on your podcast as well. We're always available for that. And if you want to be a guest, we already know that you got some knowledge to share. We already know there's something that you would like. Please reach out to us, www.millionairesaremade. Link is being dropped right now. We would love to have you be a guest on our show. We do topics all over. Speaking of that, if you have a topic idea, we'd love to do it. If you're struggling with something and you need some advice, shoot a topic to us. We'll take it. We'll go find the guests. And we'll go through an entire episode so you can help struggle through that. We do have some sponsors on this episode. Want to give them a quick shout out. Thank you so much for sponsoring. First off is our Gunther's Adventures. His link's being dropped. Gunther's Adventures is my buddy Joe. It's your one-stop shop for adventure, inspiration, and cleverly designed Toyota upgrades. This guy is an off-road champ. If you love watching or just seeing the crazy off-roading experiences, go check out his LinkedIn or his Insta or his Facebook. Whether you're a seasoned overlander or a weekend warrior, Gunther's helps you push your Toyota further. We are also sponsored by Whoopsie Hair Ties, where style meets resilience. They redefine the ordinary with their versatile, durable accessories. Celebrate strength and uniqueness with every twist with these hair ties. Check out the link below. Thank you guys so much for helping us continue this. If you like what we do, please like us, share, subscribe, send stars so we can keep doing this. We love giving out free information, helping the world grow in all aspects of health, and finding awesome guests that have super, super insightful knowledge so that you can learn, you can grow. If you do want to take it on, go reach out to our guests. All of them would love to talk one-on-one. If you want to talk with me one-on-one, I do offer free coaching as part of my give back to the world and help the world grow. So if you want to do some free coaching one-on-one with me, links being dropped below. Without further ado, let's get into this episode. We're doing intellectual health on writing an article. And here's my little quick tip. There is a website. It's called haro.com, Haro. It's Help a Reporter Out, and it's where lots and lots of reporters from big publications and small publications get together, and they post, I need this information. I need these articles written. You can write an article, submit it. You can submit 1,000 a day or 1,000,000 a week, whatever you want to type your little hands off. And if they accept it and they like it, it's an easy way to get published. I think it costs like $20 a month. It's pretty cheap, but it's a great way to practice writing articles, submitting articles, connecting with real reporters. So check out haro.com. Link is being dropped right now. And that brings us to our first guest. Jackie here is going to come out and say hi to us. Jackie, who are you?
I am, first of all, daughter of God Most High. I have 10 children.
Ooh,
yes, they're all biological. No, they're twins. So I've been married for almost 31 years.
Congrats.
Thank you. I homeschooled my kids for almost 20 years and then put 7 of them in the public school system, where I then became a coach, an author, and a speaker. So I'm glad to be here.
All right. Well, we got a lot to learn about. But first, if I wanted to improve my intellectual health by writing an article, what simple piece of advice would you give me?
Share a piece of a story that can help connect with the audience.
Great, great. Okay, give us examples.
Examples. So if you've been through something or heard about something in your life, like I had a time when I was on my couch crying. I didn't know how to raise this family.
That's a tough situation. All right.
Yeah, and people can connect with that. Like I've been there, I've been in the tears. But it's when I looked up on my wall and it said, unless the Lord build the house, those who build it labor in vain. And so in that space, I was like, I don't want to do this in vain. I don't want to get to the end and have done it all my own way. So what if we let the Lord build our house, our life, our marriage, our business, our family?
Wow. All right. Well, that tells us a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So sharing stories help bring that connection so that then they can relate to what you're trying to say and apply it to their lives, however it's supposed to be.
Well, you told us a little bit. Can you go ahead and tell us where on your life story you learned this advice?
I learned this advice as I went to write my first book. I was sitting down with a coach and she said, Jackie, what do you have on your heart? And I said, I think I had a book. And what I knew I had never specifically written it down as far as like started these chapters, but I knew each event in my life had a story, had a lesson, and then allowed me to share that and help inspire others people to rise up in their space and change their lives.
Man, Jackie, that's pretty powerful already. It's like you're writing a story and connecting with the audience. Do you have any last tips on improving your intellectual health with writing an article before we move on to the next guest?
Just be transparent. Share, we go through all the things in our lives, all the trials, all the things, but it's not for us to hold all that inside. It's for us to help other people through their stuff.
Ooh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Your story and your struggle is meant to be shared. All right.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jackie. We're going to move on to our next guest, who is going to be named Joe. Joe, how are you? But more importantly, who are you?
How am I? I'm great. And who am I? I'm Joe. I am the author of The Broken Mirror of Memory. It's Iraq and Other Tales. It's a story of addiction, serving in Iraq, followed by addiction, and then recovery, and finding my place in God's plan, and just going forward with my life as best I can.
Okay, great. That sounds like a good who are you? Let's ask you an important question. If I wanted to improve my intellectual health by writing an article, what tiny piece of information would you give me?
Just start. And that's, of course, if you don't have a deadline. Like if you're submitting a letter to the editor, for instance, or you want to submit an article to a publication and it's not something they're requesting, but it's something you're submitting just for interest or just because you want to try to get published, just start the process, because once you start, you're going to get through that process if you keep at it. And that's what I found with my book was I just started writing because I had something in me. And as I continued to go and continued to go, it built and built and built until I had a whole book. So just starting is the key. It's don't put it off. Just start. Just write what's in your mind, write what's in your heart, write it on a palm leaf if you have to. Doesn't matter. But just start.
And so let me ask you this. You started writing and eventually got a book. how many drafts, how many bad chapters did you write before you actually had the book?
Oh man, it must have been 5 drafts, and then we started the deluxe edition with the illustrations, and that must have been 2 drafts, and it just 5, 6, 7, so probably 7 drafts. You know, at least
7
it's gone
drafts.
through at least 4 editors.
4 editors, man. So I guess what I was trying to prove there is that your first draft's gonna always suck.
Always.
So write the article, get ready for it to suck, and push through. I mean, everyone's got a story to tell, and you know, a lot of people that are a lot of the big influencers and whatnot always say if they can change one life or 2 lives, it's all worth it. So,
yeah,
you know, you don't have to be the next Tony Robbins, but write your article, have the first draft suck, write the second draft, write the third one, write the 7th one, and then you can finally publish.
Right. Write it to inform, write it to inspire, or write it to contribute to the common stock of knowledge for all humanity, but just write it.
I love it. I love it. Joe, where on your life journey did you learn this piece of advice?
Well, I learned it when I started writing the book, and I started writing it while I was in Iraq. It was just a little blog entry that I started called Insomnia, My Reenlistment Bonus. And it was right after a big attack, and I didn't sleep for 3 days because I was a little shaken up. So I just started writing stuff down to get all of my thoughts out of me. And
Smart.
that eventually, 15 years later, became this book. So you never know where it's going to go. You know, your article could become a book in 15 years. You don't know until you start writing. So you just have to start.
And so it essentially started out as journal entries, right? You had an experience, you just started journaling, and then you were like, I need to get this out to the public.
Yeah. Yep. Have to get the story out there.
All right. Since we have a little bit of time, let's see. What was the process of getting the book? You had to find an editor. Did you self-publish? How did you go from journal to a published author?
Well, I started the journal, obviously, which is my piece of advice. Then I went through a period of severe addiction where I was writing while completely trashed the entire time, which I don't recommend because it makes for very passionate writing, but very poorly worded writing. Then I got sober and I started refining the text and writing more and writing about my journey to sobriety, which really led to the book. And
Congrats.
I went through at least 4 editors, one at my college, and then 2 friends, and then one very, 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 very good professional that I found through Readsy, a website called Readsy that I would recommend to anybody who wants to find an editor or a literary agent or anything like that. Go to Readsy.
Readsy. Okay. Awesome. Fantastic. Any last piece of information you want to share before we move on to our next guest?
Yeah, just tell your story, because if you get it into a book, and it doesn't matter what you write it on, cardboard, you can write it on concrete if you're on a war zone. You know, I don't care what you write it on, just write it, because your experience one day in 100 years will become a historical piece of literature. It will become a primary source for a historian, that's what my degree is in, history, to look back on the past and say, this is how people were living, this is what people were thinking, and it's going to be a important tool for someone to do research, to write a paper, to be more informed about what our lives were like back then, because back then is now, but in the future it will be back then, and it's coming sooner than we think. So write your story, because we don't have as much time as we think.
I love it. Thank you very much. Awesome insightfulness, Joe. We're going to move on to our next guest. Neosha, who are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me. My name is Dr. Neosha Ponder. I am a left-handed professional auntie from Kansas City, Missouri. I am also I'm an 8-year breast cancer survivor. And I wrote a whole ass book about it.
All right.
A whole ass book. And I am also I'm an educator. and I'm an educator.
Did you say you're a left-handed professional auntie? Okay, good.
Yes,
Just
I
making
am.
sure that was very clear. Just making sure that we all were on the same page for that one. All right,
Yes,
well, I've got
sir.
a very important question for you, Neosha. If I wanted to improve my intellectual health with writing an article, what simple piece of advice would you give me?
Well, the more you read, the better you'll write. A lot of people struggle with confidence when they think, oh, I don't have a PhD, or oh, I'm not great at writing. You know, read other works. That helps in, like, will give you the vocabulary you may need. And I don't think that writing an article is any different from writing a book or a term paper, or a lot of people's dissertations and papers they write in school can become articles. So, but reading is fundamental. I'm an educator. I have on my friend's T-shirt, Dr. David Johns, teach the
Teach the
babies.
babies. All right. Yeah, there it is. All
Yes.
right. Teach the babies.
And yeah, so as an educator, I can't help but encourage people to read.
Awesome. I love that. So I actually just in my life decided I'm no longer giving material gifts away for birthdays or anything. If your birthday's coming up, I'm going to buy a book I think you'll like. I will read it so we have similar subjects. Then I'll give it to you for your birthday, and then we can talk about it. That's my new life gift motto.
That part. Yes.
I'm only giving books, and we're sharing, we're talking, and we're learning together. It's my new life motto.
Yeah, and they're also great books for like baby showers.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people return stuff at baby showers, and gift cards can be kind of annoying because that means the person has to leave their house to go to the store. So yeah, books.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I got so many books. I'm gonna read them all and give them all out as gifts. All right, so I've got that's an awesome tip. Thank you so much. Let's delve into where on your life journey did you learn this tip?
I am not an avid reader in my young 44 years of life, but I realize that a lot of times people struggle with getting the words out. And I believe that especially if you read other people's stories, but just reading in general, it could be the New York Times, it could be, not necessarily tweets, but like Medium is a great website where, even if you've never been like published professionally, you can express yourself there, but they want to publish well-written stuff, So by reading more, I do believe that helped me build my vocabulary to be able to, write an article or write a book.
Yeah, and for I recommended Haro, but Medium's similar too. You can write all your articles, submit them to Medium, and hope someone takes them on and they actually publish them. We just had a comment. Oh, we had a comment that you have to be a guest on another episode that we're going to do on reading books, which I think we've actually done, but we like to redo topics with new guests because that's the fun way to do it. So we've got about another minute, Neosha. Any last advice or tips on how to improve intellectual health by writing an article? That Medium tip is great, by the way. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Talk to young people. A lot of times inspiration can come in the most unlikeliest places, and just having those conversations with young people is can be enlightening, and it'll make you want to share a story, whether it's yours or whether it's an experience. Another tip I actually was going to say later in the show, and I still will repeat it, is using the transcription tool Otter. That helped me write my book. Sometimes people, don't. Yeah, if you just talk and it transcribes it for you, of course you have to go through the editing process and everything and format it. But yeah, I think that Otter is a great tool, and it did help me out a lot because my book is a memoir, so I had to interview a lot of people, so I needed to record all that. It was hard to keep track, but just myself, I've recorded myself speaking. And preparing, be it for a job interview or be it for something like I just recently wrote an article for a magazine for a breast cancer foundation that I work with. And using Otter helped me get my thoughts out because I may need it later in the writing process.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I love that. Otter smart. And if you're trying to write an article, I mean, everyone has knowledge, right? The whole show is built off the premise that we all got something in here. I love that. You go on Otter and you can just spew it all out, and then you can take some time, make sure that your uhs and ums are all removed, and then and then submit it, publish it wherever you want. That's a great tip. I love it. Thank you so much. Neosha, we're gonna add some more fun. We're bringing Joe and Jackie back out here.
Hey.
Hello.
All right, we'll start with you, Jackie. Can you really quickly refresh what your tip was?
The tip was to share a story in your article so that it can help connect with your audience.
Awesome. Joe, what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on trying to connect with an audience. Connecting with an audience is key because you want people to finish the article. You want people to finish the book. You have to connect with your audience, just like you do in podcasting. You have to connect with your audience. So I think it's a great tip. 10 out of 10. 2 thumbs up. Love it.
Neosha, what are your thoughts on our tip?
Connecting with the audience, right? Let me make sure I'm even up. Okay. So we all have a common thread, regardless of what we look like, what we believe in, where we live. Like there are just so many similarities. We have way more in common than we have different. Ooh. And so I just think finding that commonality with people, and as you grow and build your audience, it may expand by having more commonalities in other ways. So it's almost like a spider web, so I think that, and then also being true to yourself and not being inauthentic or disingenuous, I think is very important with connecting with an audience, because people can tell when you're being fake. They can see it, be it on a screen, be it through earbuds. They're like, oh, this person don't even sound like it's really the truth. They're reading from a script or something. So connecting with your audience in a lot of ways, don't get me wrong, preparation is important, but, being authentic.
All right, Joe, can you quickly refresh what your tip was?
Yeah, my tip is just start. And I started writing my book when I didn't have a degree, when I had no professional training other than, my secondary education and a little bit of basic training from the Army, which was surprisingly or unsurprisingly not helpful in writing. So, it's good for shooting at targets. It's not so good for writing a story. But once you get there, you have to start writing. So it doesn't matter what you start on a computer, on a piece of paper, on a piece of scrap paper, on a dried leaf, dried banana leaf, on a piece of concrete. I don't care what you do, but if you really want to write, if you really want to be a writer, you just have to get out there and write. And it doesn't matter what you write it on. You could go down to the beach, you could write things on sand really quick and wait for the waves to wash it away. I think that would be beautiful. But just start writing. Just start doing it. Because, like I said before, in 100 years, your writing is going to be a historical document, a primary source for someone to do research if they find it in a library, and you just never know. It might inspire someone. It might inform someone about how we are living now. And imagine how different the world will be in just 100 years. Your voice is more important than you think. So get it out there and get it down.
Neosha, what are your thoughts on his tip?
I agree. I love it. I'm not trying to be funny, but I have a friend that's in the chat right now who reads my book at the beach, literally. So write it in the sand. Having some outlet, it can be healing, and it can also it can also keep you sane. A lot with this crazy world we're in. But yeah, I do believe that just getting out the words and getting your story out in any way possible, I think is very crucial.
Jackie, what are your thoughts on his tip?
Yeah, I love it too. It is true. Just start. And sometimes we think we need other words or some, like a couple of you have already said, some special training in it, but it's actually just our voice on paper. I've had people say to me, Jackie, when I read your book, I'm hearing your voice. And that's what we want. It's just like authentic and true and real and raw. in our writing.
I love it. Awesome. All right, Neosha, can you really quickly refresh what your tip was?
My tip was to read. The more you read, the better you'll write. I think reading builds vocabulary. It also can light that fire and ignite that spark in you. Be it your own story, or be it a story you created yourself. I do believe that if you're reading, you'll be more comfortable with your own voice and ability to string those words together to write.
Joe, what are your thoughts on her tip?
I love
By the
it.
way,
I love it.
real quick, we do have a comment from the audience. Powerful tips, Joe. Your friend from St. Croix, Neosha, is very happy, thinking you're doing
Yay.
really great. We also, your otter was a great idea. I think that's all I see right now. Joe, go ahead and continue. Just wanted to shout some of those out.
Just read is the tip. Start reading. I love reading. I must own 300-400 books, and I couldn't agree more. I can't wait to get her book. I can't wait to get her book and read them and expand. Sort of expand my mind a little bit. Reading is like, I mean, I hate to use this phrase, this turn of phrase, but reading is like, it's almost like taking LSD. It's mind expanding.
Ooh.
It's like, it's like a psychedelic.
I wasn't ready for that.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't ready.
Sorry.
I thought you were going to say something else that would have made my eyes get big, but I wasn't
Joe,
ready
we're
for that.
definitely clipping that, Joe, and we're tagging you in it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. It's great to read. It's great to read other people's perspectives. And like I said, it's great to read a random memoir from 200 years ago of a guy you never heard of. You'll get inspiration you never thought you could, or information you never thought you could. So just read. I love the tip.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jackie, what are your thoughts on her tip?
Same. I agree. Reading is great. And I didn't do enough of it early on, through high school, college years. But as I was raising my family and married, I was like, I need help. And so I read a lot of helpful books, like how can I grow personally and in all the areas. So I agree. We can learn so much from that.
All right, so let's wrap this up real quick. If you want to improve your intellectual health by writing articles, go buy all their books. First things first, because they've all fucking done it. So buy their books, follow them on socials, and ask them questions along the way. But first thing, read smart people's books. Hint, hint, like Joe does, just point at them. Hint, hint, start writing, and hint, hint, tell a story. Guys, let's go on to my favorite part and think of a daily challenge. It must take less than 5 minutes a day, cost $0, and be available to anyone in the world from St. Croix all the way over to Fiji. What thoughts do you guys have?
My first thought is, why not just sit? You got to take time to be quiet for a little bit. Put the phone down and just think about events in your life that you learned something through, and just write that down.
So take 5 minutes, think about your life's events. That's actually probably just a generally good idea. Yeah. Any other thoughts? I guess that's it then.
From us or from Jackie?
From everyone. Oh. We got to do this as a team.
Yeah.
No worries. I think having I sleep with I sleep with a ton of books in my bed, but I'm neurodivergent, so I can't just sit and read a book straight through. So I'm always reading chapters. I love Brene Brown. I have a couple of friends and sorority sisters who've written books that I have in my bed as well. But I also have a notepad. And sometimes having when you wake up, if you have this amazing thought, or if you whatever you feel will get you out of bed, sometimes writing it down helps as well.
So Neosha, I read 4 books at a time, just like you. I read 10, 15 pages a day, and then I just put it in, and the next day I learn a whole new subject. And then I always have my laptop, and I take my notes right there too. And then obviously I create it as content and send it out into the social verse. But that's a great idea. Read and 5 books at a time. and sit and think. Joe, you got any thoughts on a daily challenge?
Yeah, a daily challenge really is for me, and it's something I had to learn the hard way. I learned it from being a hospital chaplain for 3 months, is just calm down. Nothing that you think is important, nothing that you're stressing about really. There's very little of it that is actually that serious. Because when you get to that end, and we all get to that end, it's not going to matter. So little is going to matter. What's going to matter is how much you loved, how much you inspired, how much you lived. That's what's going to matter. So just chill, folks. It's going to be all right. Because believe me, I've seen the end. And, it can be quick or it can be slow. But it's all going to end. So just chill and enjoy. It's just a ride, folks. That's my final thought.
Who sings the song? Is it Meatloaf that sings
Yeah.
"Life Is a Highway"? I want to ride it on. Just be on your highway.
Well, and isn't the process or the journey through life, how we're doing life, more important than the result? Because how we do life daily is the result we'll get.
That's right.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Amen.
All right. How about so 5 minutes a day? Let's see. I think that the way we're kind of going is we got just right. We got share your experience, connect with your audience. I think that we write every day 250 words on an event that happened over a year ago to you.
The event and a
250 words.
And then think about what you learned.
Well, what if you have?
Say that again, Jackie.
And then think about what you learned from it, from that event.
Okay, yeah. Neosha, what were you saying?
I was like, but how do you count 250 words? Like, this is my journal, right? And it's like, I don't write every single day, but I try. So maybe like even a page a day if you're handwriting.
I won't even put a limit on it. Just spend your 5 minutes writing about an experience that happened spend 5 minutes writing about an experience that happened over a year. It was like I guess if you write about yesterday's experience, that's cool too, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I don't even care about that. About an experience that happened to you and how you felt.
Yeah, and over a year ago, I like that idea because it forces you to reflect, and a lot of times reflection, is a great learning tool for you. When you can reflect on things.
And it helps the intellectual health, right?
Oh. Yeah, one of our audience members said, count the average words on a line and multiply times the number of lines on a page to create your average page count. I
got 3 degrees in communications. I don't have any degrees in math. I would not be able to do that. I'm not gonna lie to you. That is not my ministry. I appreciate the tip. But I would like zone out halfway through counting. I know I would. Like I have ADHD. So
I don't have any degrees in that.
Some people that works for some, but for my neurospicy self, no, I'd be like 1, 2, 3, and
neurospicy. I love that word. I love that. Okay, so let's not do the word count. We're gonna just do the 5 minutes. And if you spend that 5 minutes even just thinking about your past experience, and maybe you don't even write it down, that's totally cool too. You got to think before you write. I kind of like the reading in there too. We might have to do that for another episode. I think we're gonna focus on just the writing on this challenge. So spend 5 minutes thinking about a past experience and write. Sounds simple enough. I think we can all do it. Correct?
Yeah,
correct.
My handwriting author friends use that method. I could never. Oh, she was referring to a tip that her friends that handwrite, how they can.
It works. I mean, I believe it works. I just can't. I just wish I could. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh man, we went overboard. That was a great episode. Fun times. All right, well, guys, thank you so much. We got our daily challenge. We did what we came to do. You guys were super insightful. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you, audience. It was great having you guys as well, but we have to wrap up the episode. We can't go all day. So I will bid you all farewell.
Thank you
so much.
And there we have another episode of Millionaires Are Made. We focused on intellectual health and writing an article, how to write, how to submit, how to get published. We had 3 awesome authors, all published authors. Be sure to go buy their books. Be sure to go follow them on Insta, LinkedIn, Twitter, however you find. And if you are looking to, I highly suggest start writing. Our daily challenge is to spend your 5 minutes every day writing about an experience that hopefully happened over a year ago and reflect your thoughts and your feelings and how it made you react. Maybe it changed your life, how it did so.